Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm here with a very dear friend of mine, the one and only Trever Ahing.
That's me.
Trevor, tell us about yourself. Tell the world, man.
Oh, man, where do I start? I'm a Libra. I own a real estate company that focuses on creative finance flips and a lot of midterm stuff. I'm an 8-year Marine myself. I'm a father to a beautiful 16-month-old daughter, and I got a son on the way in November. And I got a beautiful wife that allows me to live my dream every single day, man. So, and I got great friends that do fun shit like this, bro. So, I mean, that's kind of a little bit about me, bro.
Awesome, man. Awesome. It's such an honor to have you on, and thank you for your service, brother.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're actually, I think, the 4th veteran I've had on now. So let's go, man. We want to keep that veteran.
Keep it up, baby.
Yeah, keep our veteran community tight, keep prospering, and giving back to the world, man. So tell me about your experience in the military and what led you to go into the military.
Dude, it's a funny story, man. So in high school, I was raised by my mom, single mom, right? I had no inkling to join the service ever at all. And I actually stumbled into, you ever heard of parkour free running?
Yeah, dude.
Dude, I did that professionally for 4 years.
Parkour,
baby.
Let's go.
So it's kind of like skateboarding though. So during high school, I was like sponsored. So I'd go on little, tours and events, and we would do videos with my team, X, Y, and Z. Didn't pay the bills, but it was fun, know? And so as I started getting a little bit more adventurous, more independent, I started leaning into more world travel, and I decided, I was like, man, I think I want to branch into something that can provide said travel, right? And so I was actually at a Subway when I just got done with a parkour jam, is what we call it, and there was a Navy guy, and he was there in his uniform, and he goes, hey, yo, homie, how about I'll buy your Subway if you talk to me for 5 minutes. I was like, free Subway, bro? I was like, all day, man. So I was like, this guy's never going to get me. Long story short, he got me, bro, right? So I went to his recruiting station, and we talked for probably about a week and a half. Navy is great. Didn't speak to me as much as when I saw the Marines come running in, and they were all dirty, getting yelled at. And I just never had that. And I was like, what is that? And so he was like, no, you don't got to go over there. And I decided to go check it out. I walked in. My recruiter's name was Staff Sergeant Godina. He looked at me in my face, and he goes, what the fuck do you want? And I was like, I think I want to be you, dude. And then like a month later, bro, I went to boot camp, man.
That's awesome.
So it was a funny, crazy, amazing story that just transpired into to the military.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned something about you had veteran family members and everything in prior.
I did, man. So my grandfather was the only other Marine in my family, right? And so he was a PFC in World War II, second wave to hit the sand. So that was really cool when I graduated. He kind of was very closed off about that stuff until I got that EGA, and he decided to crack open a beer with me at 19, and he just told me his stories, and it was amazing. And then a lot of my family's also Air Force, right? So come from a very patriotic family. I just never thought it would be for me, but lo and behold, it was the best thing I ever did with my life.
How cool is that, being able to relate with your grandpa?
Oh
my grandpa was a Vietnam vet, got his Purple Heart, and he's pretty close-minded about it. Hey, I did this.
Yeah.
We all knew.
Yeah.
I graduate basic training. I fly him and my grandma out to Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. And when I got home and we would talk, he opened up.
Dude.
It was incredible to be we knew stories.
Of course. Yeah.
But having that relationship, and I
Yeah.
imagine your relationship got even tighter with your grandpa after you started.
Absolutely. We were emailing all the time, and it's like building the bridge of brotherhood. It really kind of is. It kind of allows them, because your spouse doesn't get it all the time, and as much as their support, their emotional support is there, when you get to talk to a boy or a fellow brother in arms, or even sister in arms, it makes a world of difference. You can just tell the way my grandfather was talking to me, treating me, and I was like, oh, dude, I made it. You know what I mean? I made it for him. Yeah, really, really cool. And then he passed about a year into me. I was stationed over at Quantico, Virginia, with headquarters of Marine Corps. We flew out for his burial. And actually, I just visited him today because he's at Dixon National Cemetery. So I said what's up to John and Ann and everybody. So that was cool. That was really cool, man.
Incredible, man.
Yeah.
Salute to service. I'm
Yeah.
really happy that you got that relationship with him. And then you. So what do the Marines do for you, man? You told me you wanted to be a 30-year, just go all in. What happened, man?
Bro, I was a hard charger, dude. Honestly, it turned me from codependent to independent, where it just made me grow up quick, dude. You know what I mean? Super big mama's boy, still am. But allowing this, it was kind of the oh shit factor of this is what the world is, And just allowing me to kind of have I didn't grow up with siblings. You know, I had my brother was born when I was 14, and so just kind of being around other people my age with the same mission, it was really cool to buy in more into like a team vision. You know what I mean? And travel was great. I had a very blessed Marine Corps experience. Well, in boot camp, I was meritorious, you know, from squad leader and guide, and then just kind of rode that wave. And I liked how it was so performance based, where it was like it's very selfless, but at the same time, if you do your job, you'll get rewarded for it. You know what I mean? So I just always felt like lifting up others and putting myself in a position into a leadership role. I was kind of, they kind of molded me for that. And I give a lot of that to my higher ups.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. That's great. Leadership, man.
Huge.
Leadership. And then, so what tools have you taken from the Marine Corps? Now running your own company, running your business, understanding innovations and all that?
Dude, I would say everything. I think the biggest thing where people go, you know, the transition, and I think this is why, you know, a lot of military make great entrepreneurs, is because you have a mission statement, right? You have a set determination of what's going to happen. You're gonna freaking get there, no matter what. You know what I mean? So you understand your left and right lateral limits. If you can stick within those confines and you create consistency, like, you're gonna get the mission accomplished. So I had my goals in my business, and who's gonna deter me? You know what I mean? Like, nobody. So when I create that kind of accountability and I create that buy-in and that culture for my employees, it's like going to war every day. You know what I mean? Like, in our own way. And that's what's pretty cool, because I turn snowballs into avalanches all day, so that way when we do have our big wins, we can celebrate it, but we work hard to play harder in a sense, and we all kind of have that esprit de corps, you know, through what we want to get done, and we damn well get it done, dude. So that's what's fun about it.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
I see all your stuff on social media, you know, knowing you over the past few months and trying to set this up, and getting to play golf with you last week and everything like that. Like, you're an inspiration, man. You're an inspiration. I don't know if people know you as well as they should just yet, but if you haven't followed Trever just yet, man, definitely do it, man.
I appreciate that, man. That means a lot, dude. That means a lot. A lot of it comes from the household too. I think, you know, I do want to tie in the Marine Corps, you know, aspect, but another thing to that is my wife. I got with her right when I came back from overseas from Africa, and none of this was possible because you asked for the whole 30 years. I wanted to do 30 years. Dude, the only reason why I didn't is because real estate was supplementing my income, and then we had a personal issue happen that we can dive into. But that was a death that my wife had to deal with my father-in-law, whose birthday was today. So it was a great day for the podcast, because I mean a lot of my purpose ties into him, and I wouldn't be anywhere without her. So I mean the structure, what the military could provide, but the support of what my woman provided, like, dude, that makes a man, bro.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more, dude. Like, I know they say happy wife, happy life, happy spouse, happy house. But how do you make that happen, right? When we were talking last week on the links,
yeah,
and you're like, hey man, you know what? She's been my support and everything like that. How did you two meet, and how did you guys find out how to work through the trials and errors together?
We met. So I was attached to Marine Security Guard forces in Johannesburg at the time, so South Africa, and my wife slid in my DMs, bro. We never met. We knew of each other through mutual friends. And she hit me up saying, hey, if you're ever in Sacramento, you know, it'd be fun to, you know, go on a hike or something. Like, she don't hike, bro. You know what I mean? But we started connecting through that. You know, long story short, we talked for a couple months, like online. FaceTiming. Dude, I flew her out to Africa to meet for the first time. We spent like a couple weeks safari vacation together, which is so romantic now, like then, but my daughter now, if she flew out across the world for a boy she never met, I'd be like, hell no,
that ain't happening, girl.
That ain't happening, homie. Absolutely not. But her family did have like my commands number and everything, but we met there. We did the whole African thing. I ended up, which was amazing. I came back for her sister's wedding the second time. The third time we ever met, I was the best man at my buddy's wedding, and we got married. So we got married the third time we ever like hung out, and that was about 8 years ago. And it was the best thing I ever did. I did exactly what I tell younger Marines to never do. Straight up eloped, bro. Like full on eloped, homie. And it was amazing. And so she filled that, and she's a Filipino, very traditional woman, and I loved that. I knew I wanted that. She knew that she wanted that kind of structure as well. So when it tied out of the presence of the military providing that kind of support, she just gave me an ultimatum, like where it was, you know, I was like, honey, I'm going to do this full time. Like, you know, with your dad passing and I'm going on deployment, I'm seriously going to be, you know, I can't stay with you and provide the emotional stability I know you need. You're in shambles. I don't want to continue to have that in the military because I felt like it was kind of a revolving door. And I said, what if I just did real estate full time? And she was like, hell yeah, but I'm going to give you a year. You know what I mean? Where it was like, we have some savings. We're good. And then she gave me 3 things. She was like, I want $50K in our bank, right? I want to have another car and we got to have a house, you know, by then. And we did that in about 6 months, bro. And then we ended up just never looking back. And my woman's been my rock the whole time, dude. She's like my jet fuel, bro.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was sick. It's my favorite story to tell because I was like, holy shit, you know what I mean? Like, all right, I hit a couple great deals and just met the right people and I just went 110 miles an hour to this day, dude.
I love it, man. I'm just watching on the sideline, just watching you do everything. And I do believe a lot of people do miss that. Having your home life, having your physical health, having your spiritual health is super important, especially in an entrepreneurial world, just in the world.
Yeah.
Not even in an entrepreneurial state, like just in the world, having that backbone that you can always relate to, come back home to.
Dude, ground you. You think that we make those kinds of decisions, it's like, dude, it's a team effort, bro. You know, like I still have a CO. I always joke about that. Like my commanding officer, I was like, that woman's at the house, bro. You know, right now, like she dictates what we're going to be able to do. But it's because I think she can see the field from all angles. Like she's kind of like the head coach and I'm, you know, the quarterback in that sense. You know what I mean? So we'll help draft in the plays. I can end up playing in the game, but she's the one who's able to kind of help from the sidelines. And that's actually a cool analogy. I don't think I've ever used that before.
I love it, dude. And football season
right
here, dude.
Right here, baby.
Yeah, let's go.
And go Niners, by the way, dude.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So as you're quarterbacking the field, a lot of people really don't understand what you do on the investment side about your novations and everything you have going on. Can you walk us through what businesses you have?
Yes. So first and foremost, my company is called Buyer Beater, right? So we beat out other buyers utilizing creative solutions such as, you know, novations, which is mainly our bread and butter. Novations falls under 2 categories. One we consider the equity protection program. The other one we consider our equity split program. Just very fancy ways of saying, you know, we still deal with the same distressed homeowners. We call them our 4Ds: death, distress, divorce, and debt, right? Every deal that you're going to get on the investment side comes from those 4Ds, right? Wholesale deals, I mean, they're in a pickle. You have to be able to bridge the gap between, you know, a distressed seller and a quicker solution. And that's usually, you know, at a lower price point than what you can get, you know, on the market. I'm dealing with sellers where they're in a situation, but they have a couple more months to try to, you know, retain some more profit and work with the right people to get them in front of said opportunity. So we're still dealing with situations that we get to help, but we get to utilize the optimism of the market to do so. So if we have a property that's worth $500,000 fully renovated, right, you're looking at a traditional wholesale formula, which is assignment real estate, right? So let's just say it needs $50,000 worth of work. Your wholesale formula, you're going to come down. It's after repair value times about 75 cents on the dollar. So 75% minus your 50,000. And let's say we wanted to make 15 grand to assign the deal equals what we call our max allowable offer. So that would be, in that scenario, about 280 grand. So if a property is worth 500 and you're offering 280, you can assign that to an investor for a good $10,000 or $15,000 profit. In most cases, I say all the time, if it's a wholesale deal, dude, do the wholesale deal, right? But if you have a seller who you built rapport with, they like you, right? And you get in front of it and then you go, hey, you know, Rich, I'll give you 280. And you go, kick rocks, bro. 280 is way too low, homie. I need 350 minimum because I'm in a situation, but I'm not that desperate. Well, that's a dead wholesale deal. That is a perfect novation, right? So I work them into my model where I just say, you know what, Rich, let's do that, right? You live in the home, and this is the equity protection. I'm going to like a nerd out real quick.
Please do.
So this is the equity protection program play where I go, Rich, you should absolutely get $350,000. Now, quick question. You know, I've looked around the house. I do know it's dated. It needs some work. You do have a room that's cluttered with, you know, hoarding, or, you know, the landscaping is fairly bad. I don't think it's going to show well. So what I can approve you for is about $5,000 worth of work on your home that I'll cover completely. You don't have to pay me $1, right? We'll come in there. I'll take over the marketing, maintenance, and management of this transaction, which just means I'm going to guarantee you $350,000. I'm going to employ one of my top 1% agents after I do some renovations on your home, like some landscape, some paint work, cleaning the house out, maybe staging a couple rooms. And then I'm going to test the optimism of the market. And if I do end up finding a buyer, right, they're going to cover my fee. I'll cover cover all your realtor fees and closing costs, and whatever's left over between your $350 and what I sell it for is it going to be a return on my investment for helping you out, right? So it's a great way of a seller going, okay, so I get $350 guaranteed. You get to clean my house up a bit, and then you take care of the headache of selling it. And I go, yeah. And so, right? It's called the white glove service, baby. Yep. So they stay in the home with the equity protection play. I lock them in for $350. I go to great agents like you, and I go, hey, I have the rights to this home. I'm actually collaborating with the homeowner themselves. They don't want to be a part of the deal, but I do have a position on it, right? We utilize that through our contracts, which is a whole different conversation. Very simple paperwork. And I say, I do think I'm going to put about $5,000 into this home. So, Rich, can you walk the home and you just let me know what its current condition retail value could be if I do end up cleaning up a couple things? And so you walk it and you go, well, the neighborhood is worth $500, but your house needs work. So if you just clean out the garage, did X, Y, and Z, I could probably list it for about $429,000, and we probably will get bites about $410, right? That's great for me. So I go, okay, great. We put it out for $429. We clean the property up on behalf of the homeowner. I give her Starbucks gift card. She's always gone during the open houses, X, Y, and Z, And so when you then list it and you show it, we get an offer at, let's say, $415, right? Well, at $415,000, I cover the realtor fees and closing costs, right? So now we're at $390. What do they want? $350. So my $5,000 just made me $45,000. Right. And our average novation fee nationwide is $33,000. And so we've done a little over 106 deals in about 18 months. And we're crushing it on that side. And that's fun.
100%. So for those of people that don't quite understand that, no, that's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. Because it's another strategy for listing agents to offer opportunity.
Oh my God, dude. It's the best. It's a great way for agents to go into it because, well, it's a good way to utilize, us as your creative department, because when you offer it to the homeowner, you can take your agent hat off and put your investor hat on and go, look, in the condition that it's in, I could put it out there, but unfortunately, it's going to take a while to sell. And I always offer, do you have $5,000 to $10,000 to fix things up? And they're going to go, no, that's why I'm selling. I'm in a pickle. I'm in pre-foreclosure, probate, X, Y, and Z. You go, I know. I don't want to put you in a financial position. So why don't we do this? I have a creative department I can work with.
Yep.
They're already going to approve between $5,000 to $10,000 worth of work on behalf of you. And the good news is they pay for my fees. So I don't have to negotiate my price with you, and they'll cover your closing costs. But we just want to be able to walk away with a floor price that's going to make you happy. What is that price? They say $350, you go, phenomenal. Let's get over to them. You bring the opportunity to me. I upfront the investment. We help transact on it with you. You get a full commission. We get it sold to a first-time home buyer, FHA, whatever it's going to be. Seller gets exactly what they want, and we get to arbitrage the upside. So for agents, man, it's money. A lot of our deals come from agents.
Well, even for sellers, like you said, pre-foreclosure is a scary place to be.
Oh my goodness!
I know. I walked through a couple times personally where I was in pre-foreclosure. I had a substance abuse problem that I had to clean up. It wasn't even paying attention to the world, right? Got all that handled. I was like, okay, cool. I can breathe now, right? But I go on listing appointments all the time where it's like, Rich, we have no money.
Yeah.
We're extended. We know that grocery prices are up, gas is up, right? They may have had to refinance at a bad time due to everything, right? And they're just trying to be safe, trying to be protected. And when they meet with somebody like you or I, they're like, whew, okay.
Oh man, breath of fresh air.
Got it, right? And so it's a phenomenal tool, right? And I do believe in what you're doing is good.
Thank you.
Right.
It means a lot. I think ethically, it just aligned with me, especially from the servicing side.
How did you find this avenue in real estate? Because this isn't very common.
It's not, man. It's a good question. So, and I want to touch on the pre-foreclosure piece as well. Those are most of our deals. So that was one novation aspect, which we get, probably 3 to 5 a month doing that. The other side is how I stumbled into it. The other side is what we call our equity split program, which just means same numbers. Property's worth $500,000, fully renovated, needs $50,000 worth of work. But let's say the seller's vacant; they don't live in the home. Maybe tenants just destroyed it, right? And so now they're looking to liquidate. They're 67 years old. They go, oh my God, let me just sell this thing and let's retire. Whatever the issue is. We actually come in there with the homeowner and we say, okay, what's your asking? They say $350,000. We go, let's guarantee you $350,000. We're going to come in and I'm going to fully renovate the home on behalf of you with my licensed contractors. So I'm going to make this thing 2024 HGTV ready, right? It's going to be turnkey. I'm going to front the entire cost. Now, when we do force appreciate the home, any appreciation we create through my renovation above your $350,000, we're going to list it with top 1% realtors like Rich, once it gets sold at 500, after realtor fees and closing costs, whatever's left over is our return on investment. So now we come in as a collaboration with the seller as a full flip. I mean, we make these things gorgeous. We stage them. I've done anywhere from $53,000 to $389,000 into a deal, right? It's all dependent on my cash on cash. So I'll collaborate with the sellers, fully renovate it, and then my 50 will easily make $60,000 all day. We actually average like 108% cash on cash. So to your question, that's what I would do. I started wholesaling and I got damn good at it in the military, like as a hobby. So I would do wholesale. Then I realized as I'm flirting with these old ladies and talking war stories with the guys that there was that limbo where it needed work. They weren't distressed for a wholesale, right, as a cash offer. And it wasn't really market ready, but I was like, you know what? Let me just get my license and I can list these homes. So if I didn't wholesale it on the weekends, I would list it. Then I caught myself listing a bunch of homes nobody really wanted to buy, you know what I mean? Just because it needed work and there's still that weird limbo. So I went to one property, and this was after Pace Morby, Daddy Pace, and I watched a podcast on Novations, and I pitched it. I went to this house. It was an Air Force guy, and he needed to sell. Property could be worth about $400,000, fully renovated. My offer cash was like $260 something, and he owed like $290, and I was like, dude. So I'm gonna list it, which was fine. But as I went to walk it, he was like halfway through the flooring, halfway through the paint. His kitchen had like weird rooster knobs on it, like it was a whole thing. And I was like, when do you leave? And he was like, I gotta leave in like 4 days. I just need you to sell this quick. They said you can do cash. I go, I can't because your mortgage is too high.
You're gonna have to cut a check.
I'm gonna have to cut a check. You're gonna have to cut a check by $30,000 for your VA. But I said, why don't we do this? This is my first flip ever, bro. I was like, why don't we do this though? I can get you approved for a program. I always do. Never done it. I was like, I always do this. I've already walked the home. I do think it needs about $15,000, $20,000 worth of work, right? Why don't I come in with my licensed crew? Didn't have a crew, right? And I was like, I'll put my money into it, which I had. And I told him, I said, why don't we guarantee you $315,000? So your mortgage is $290. You want me to put it on market for $320, $330 anyway to get it quickly sold? You're going to make a lot more money doing this because I'm going to work you into about another $10,000 of your equity, but I'm going to cover all our realtor fees and your closing costs. So that way, when you leave and you vacate the home, I'll bring my crew in, we'll fully renovate the home, and then when I list it, I'll cover all the fees associated. He freaking loved it, dude. He was like, where do I sign? I go, I turned the RPA over and I wrote down like terms, and I was like, we're going to get this draft. It's going to be a real doc, I promise. I went and I got the actual paperwork, gave it to him. He loved it. He ended up leaving because he got stationed somewhere else.
Yep, PCS. Yeah.
I FaceTime my buddy Mark. Shout out Mark. He was a contractor in Arizona, and I go, "What the fuck am I doing, bro? Like, can you fix this?" He was like, "Oh, bro." He was like, $12K and like a couple packs of Bud Light, and I was like, "Done." I served with Mark. He was a Marine with me, and I was like, "Let's do it." Flew him down. We stayed there for about 11 days. Me, him, and a couple buddies from the Marine Corps. We renovated the home. I broke more shit, bro. I'm not a renovator, homie. You know what I mean? I'm good at building the bridge. I'm not good at building anything else. And so we put about $12,000 into it. He was right on the money. I sold it for $405,000, like 4 days on market, and I made more than what I made the entire year as a staff sergeant in the Marine Corps on that deal. So I gave the seller $10,000 more than what they wanted. I flipped a house by borrowing money, brought some crews in, and I made about $61,000 after everything. And I was like, what? So I just revisited all my dead wholesale deals, and in about 7 months, I made a little over $500,000 just by doing that. And then it was like, we're rich. I changed my life until you realized that you can start sustaining a process, and active income is different than passive income. And I started kind of stumbling into an actual operation, and that was about 4 years ago, man. So we've been doing it ever since.
Introduce Buyer Beater, baby.
Yes, boom.
Let's go.
Da, da, da.
Right. So,
but yeah.
For those of you that may have missed what just happened in this story,
yeah.
This is something that I love about military mindset. It's the can-do attitude. Okay, I have this thing. I'm going to go do it. How the hell do I do this?
Yeah, dude.
Right.
Yeah.
And you call people, you get some information, you talk to title reps. Hey, this is what I got. Let's structure this out this way. Boom, boom, boom. And in doing so, you created your own business. You're able to provide for your family. You got out. It was a tragic story. Your wife losing her father.
Yeah.
And you have to go.
Yeah, I had to deploy for 7 months, after that. And that's when I wanted to find something to reclaim my time, And so I felt like real estate could be the financial vehicle to do so.
That was a very similar thing, not the whole wife or anything. I did the thing where everybody told me I was going to get married when I was like, you guys don't know me. Yeah. I don't need anybody, dude. I'm too much of a train wreck personally right now to do that to anybody, right? And so I never got married while I was in, to anybody, doing anything like that. I just been doing my own thing the whole time. But I always, when I became an E5 and I'm running the squad, I'm like, hey guys, don't do that.
Yep.
And you did that.
Bro.
Yeah, I'm going to fly this girl out for the first time. And I'm going to
full sent it, bro. And I never did that. Anything like that before. I was so frugal, nothing. But when you know, bro. Right. And I was like, yeah, that's you. And then, and something that I want to hit, and this is something I tell my service members whenever we talk. I do like transitional readiness seminars and people that are getting out, and I get a lot of DMs for that. And I go, brother, you think I had it figured out before I decided to get in my vehicle and go? Like, no. That's what failing forward's all about. Welcome to entrepreneurship, right? You want that first and 15th paycheck, stay in. You know what I mean? Right. But if you want to bet on yourself and utilize those skills as an advantage, you can build something pretty damn big, man, if you just believe in yourself, bro. And the biggest thing I always tell my team is imperfect action is better than perfect non-action, right? Just start. Just take those steps. Just freaking get in front of it. Suck at it more. Only way to get better doing pull-ups is do more pull-ups. Only way to get better on the phone is fucking make more calls, right? Just do it. You're going to figure it out.
It's not rocket science.
Dude, it's not.
It's not. It is just go forward in action. Get rid of the limiting beliefs. And I love my family. I love the people around me. When I jumped into real estate, I didn't tell my dad for 6 months.
I told
nervous? Well, I knew what he would say. He told me to get back to pulling wire.
Yeah, dude.
Which I told my mom, I told my brother, I was like, hey guys, I'm doing this. Don't tell dad. Right? And after I started crushing it in 6 months, I finally was like, hey dad, by the way, I stopped being an electrician.
Yeah.
What the hell? You need to get there back. And that's a 23-year correctional officer.
Yeah.
Wanting the safety for his son. It's out of love.
Of course.
Right? It
always is.
I definitely believe that. It's always out of love.
It always is.
And wanting to protect their youth, protect their children, make sure that they're going to be safe. And a lot of times doing so, people will take that on themselves that want to chase this dream, that want to write a book, start a podcast, want to run a marathon, right? I jumped off, it's called Big Tick Rock in Lake Natoma.
Nice.
It's like 45-foot jump.
Yeah.
I sent my parents a video. And of course my dad says, you got a beautiful fiance. You don't need to be jumping off rocks anymore. I was like, Dad, I'm going to play till I'm dead.
Bro, facts.
I'm going to send it till I'm dead. I'm going to have fun.
Absolute truth,
you know what
dude.
I mean? If I get hurt, I get hurt. Guess what? That's another scar I get to say.
Yep.
Hey, I earned this one,
Yep.
right? By not living in fear, right? And so what you did was absolutely move in confidence. Like, I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm going to do it.
Yep.
And I believe more people should live like that.
I agree with you 100%. And the cool thing is, when that still scares you, because it will, right? And I totally get it. Even though you start getting more money equals, you get bigger, it does create bigger problems, but these are all problems that you can creatively solve, right? When you get into the right rooms with the people that are also doing it. Because you start surrounding yourself with people that are figuring it out too. You know what I mean? And that's what's cool about it.
So I've been sober off coke for 3 years and 3 months.
Good shit,
right? Going
man.
on 3 years and 4 months.
Nice.
And actually, my dad really helped me with that. Because I was honest with them.
Yeah.
They knew about it.
Yeah.
They knew about my issues and stuff like that. They're like, they're praying for me.
Yeah.
Hey, one day he'll figure it out. I hit my 1 year mark, and my dad was like, all right, son, do another one. I was like, you don't got to even question that. Let's go. Right. But I think like as you start getting these little successes and all that stuff, that it can really generate power and momentum.
Contagious.
Oh yeah, I remember where I was going. Dude, this coffee's hitting hard.
Dude, good man.
So when you get in the right rooms, right? I would never imagine doing a podcast with my friend Trever Ahing right here.
Yeah.
3.5 years ago.
Oh, bro. Yeah.
It was a pipe
Think
dream.
about yourself. Yeah, 3 years ago, dude. Dude, crazy. Can I piggyback off that?
Go.
Because what you just said is something my wife reminded me of. Every podcast I do is about, I'm like, it's a love letter to my damn wife, bro. That's so funny. Anyway, get yourself a good woman. That's what you need. Or good man, whatever. But I got a check. This was right before a trip to Hawaii in like February this year, right? Like January, February. And it was supposed to be about $112,000, right? Gross, coming into it. And I got pissed because somebody approved $20,000 seller concessions. Long story short, it ended up being a little under like 100 or whatever, right? And it was ruining my day, right? I was like pissed off. I didn't expect that, and I have to now, do this, and I couldn't raise for a whole deal. And I just threw my arms up. I was like having a fit, My wife was like, "Look at you," And I'm like, I know, like yada yada. She goes, "No." She's like, "Imagine yourself 2.5 years ago getting pissed off that you made $94,000, And I thought about it, and I go, "Yeah." And she goes, "This is what you always do wrong." She's like, "You do everything right except one thing." She goes, "You're always stretching for the next race. You forget to hold up your own trophies you just won." And I was like, "Oh my God, bro."
Say that one more time.
Dude, you're always stretching for your next race that you forget to hold up the trophy you just won. Homie, I get chills. I like looked at her. I was like, "Okay, Hallmark, like how did you just give that to me?"
Where was that?
Dude, I know. It was crazy. And she's so right. You got to think about it. We get so used to, we just talked about big checks that you just got, that you're getting in front of. Phenomenal. Great consistency on the realtor side. Imagine, now you're thinking about what, September's going to bring. You're like, okay, September, October, yeah, this is great. It pays for my stuff. Think about yourself 3 years ago. Like, imagine getting those checks. You know what I mean? Like,
I wouldn't know what to do.
Dude, you wouldn't, and that's the thing where you're like, wow. So gratitude is something that you have to lean into, and you do that by hanging around the right people. And I definitely got on the wrong track. What you thought was the right track, hanging out with some commercial brokers and some rich people and getting around that kind of environment, you know what I mean? And then you got to will yourself back on because you realize that I'm here to stay, and that's the legacy I want to create, you know what I mean? So that was pretty cool. So to piggyback off what your dad did, phenomenal. And what she did, and I love that saying. I say that all the time because it's like, hold your trophy up. That's what we tell each other now. Hold your trophy up.
Dude, I love that, dude. Hold the trophy up. I'm going to take that. I hope
please
that's
do.
okay.
Dude, please do.
Because I have conversations with other people that have had substance abuse problems, alcohol problems, depression problems, all this stuff, and I'm sure you can relate.
Oh, my God, yeah.
I mean, our servicemen and women, I think, need even more support from the VA, from our government and everything. Because what we go through isn't normal.
No.
To be disassociated from your wife who just lost her father for 7 months, dude, that's not normal.
No.
Right? But like I said, when my dad told me, hey, all right, let's get another year, right? I look back and I have these conversations with friends that have also struggled with stuff. And what I found is a very interesting thing in myself and other relationships. It's like, man, I'm not where I want to be, and I threw my life away here and all this stuff. Nah, dude. We're starting now. I got a 3-year and 4-month trophy coming.
Hell yeah, you
right?
do,
like,
baby.
It's
Dude,
not even.
hell yeah,
it's
you do,
not
man.
even a thing anymore. But be proud of those moments, right? If you're training for a marathon and have never ran a mile, or it's been since junior high or high school, right? You sweat in PE class or whatever. Go run a mile and take charge. Like, be like, all right, I did that.
Yeah.
Right? Even if it's a jog mile and you walk part
for
of
sure.
When would you have done that before? No, you're training for this now.
Yep.
Grab your trophy. Oh my goodness,
dude! It was it was a damn good saying, and that was I mean, we say that so much now, like all the time, and I think it's just a sense of gratitude because now when you start kind of positioning those smaller wins, it really comes into play when you get your bigger ones, and the smaller ones are what counts because that's the consistency that you're creating. You know what I mean? For the big ones, you're setting yourself up for the home run. But base hits, bro, are just as important, man.
The Giants won a World Series on small ball.
I'll tell you that,
right?
Man. Yeah,
2014.
Dude,
it was all small ball. Nobody, no big bats, no nothing. But it was singles and doubles.
Brady's dink and ducks, man. They got him down. 2 minutes left every game, bro.
James White was a dink and duck all the way down the field.
Dude, I'll tell you right. Yeah. So that was pretty cool leaning into that. And the mile thing is so true. Anybody that wants to start off, it's like unfortunate that you're coming to me for the advice that you already know. It's just you want to get fit just watch this. Put your shoes on. Put your running shoes on. Mm-hmm. Your mind is going to be like, all right, we're there. But if you just decide not to and talk about it, you're not going to get in the mindset. Tilt your body over, put your fucking shoes on, and you're going to be like, now I got to do it, right? Same thing in business. Just get your first caller. Just make your first dial, and that's putting your shoes on, man. You're going to get there.
Yes.
You're going to get there.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So in your military career, you had some interesting stories on how you met your wife and going to Africa, right? In those relationships you have, how are they still with you today and helping you strive forward? And how are you helping people?
Man, that's a great question. So I think a lot of my identity stems still from patriotism. I never even knew what that really meant in the country until you're able to, have buddies pay the ultimate sacrifice, and you realize kind of what the bigger picture is and how blessed we are every single day. I'd say a lot of my relationships are a lot of my buddies are vets now. I got out in 21, technically. I got in 2013. I still have 3 or 4 of my buddies who are still making a career out of it. But the cool thing is the educational side of the VA benefits has translated, it's made a huge impact on my company. That's what I want to talk to you about with the VHA thing, right? Mm-hmm. So to bring that in, because first and foremost, when I started flipping houses, the VA it's immensely competitive, and it's a phenomenal tool to be able to buy houses. If you have access to that, you need to buy a damn house. You need to. But I would still find myself taking all cash offers, 25% conventional, 30,000 above appraisal, X, Y, and Z, and I'd have my very competitive VA guys not get the house. You know what I mean? Because they're coming in at appraised value. What if it doesn't appraise? I wasn't going for that. And then I realized, I was like, man, that sucks, dude, because it really does. And I've been there before when I bought my primary. And so I kind of reverse engineered my model. So now we do what's called the VHA program, the Veteran Home Advantage program. And it's for service members as well, active duty. And we'll work with the buyer's agents and them themselves. And if they just got stationed somewhere, right, they don't know the area, let's just say, we'll say Camp Pendleton over in Southern California, because that's where I'm at. They'll go, I'm looking for a 4-bed, 3-bath, house. I got approved because I've already been approved from the VA for $800,000. This is my BAH X, Y, and Z. So I'll take their buy box, and then I'll go campaign to my distressed sellers, which I have a community of, right? And I would call the seller, and I go, hey, and the properties that have been on market, for 120 days that need a bunch of work. But the thing is, they're not going to be bought, conventionally, because they need a bunch of, they're not going to get loaned on because they need work, X, Y, and Z. So I'll tell them, I go, hey, hey, Barbara. My sellers are always Barbara. I'm always like, hey, Barbara, this is Trevor with Buyer Beater. I have amazing news, right? I'm actually representing a service member right now. He's approved to be able to buy a house in the area that you have, right? Your property is a perfect match. Now, I do know that it's on market and it's sitting. I'm guessing it's sitting due to work that's needing to get done. I have really good news for you. They've been approved for our Veteran Home Advantage program, so we'll actually be able to collaborate directly with you, and we're going to renovate the home on behalf of you, right? And so you have it listed for, let's say, this amount. After realtor fees and closing costs, you're going to be here. I'm going to give you $20,000 more on your equity. We're going to come in there. We're going to fully renovate the home, right? And then whatever the property appraises for, it's what our veteran's going to be buying it for. We're going to cover all the realtor fees, closing costs, and on-market expenses. Whatever's left over is going to be returned on our VHA, right? And they freaking love it. So I allow their house to go to a hero, right? They able to keep the title and the mortgage in their note, which means I don't have to have any hard money. I creatively acquire the property, renovate it, so my 60 makes the difference of whatever it appraises for from what I sell, which is usually a little over 60, right? Yep. It's usually over 100% cash on cash. I get to be with the service member during the whole way, and I go, do you have a daughter? Let's paint a room pink. What kind of cabinets does your wife want? What kind of backyard do you want? So I'm able to customize it within reason to what they want, and it's giving a purpose to a property, and we've been doing this over and over nationwide, and sellers and buyers love it, dude.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Yeah, we'll have to
please. I know you got people, bro.
I do a ton of VA deals here. Yeah. We have Beal and Travis right here. We have McClellan. We have the Mather. Yeah. We have a ton of veterans in our Sacramento community. Yep. And what an opportunity.
It's so much fun. And for you as a good agent, like, whatever it appraises for, even if we're meeting our minimum cash on cash, we only want to make about 70% on our money, right? Which sounds like a bunch, but if I'm putting in 50, I should be making 30 in my 50 back, right? So if it appraises and it's going to be worth more, I'll go lower to make sure that service member can get worked into some equity already, and that way they kind of have a jump start into wealth building,
Beautiful.
And the sellers freaking love. The sellers get to feel the transition. We take photos for them. They love it, man.
That's awesome. We'll definitely tap into that. I'd love to bring that resource to the table. And what an incredible opportunity to, what you just said there was have the veteran walk in with some equity. We're dealing with this now in this market with new build properties and trying to resell them after 2 or 3 years and all that stuff. And for a VA home buyer, right, with 0% down, most of the time, that equity they have doesn't allow them to actually sell and get out from underneath
at all.
And again, doing a subject to on that deal does not allow it because the seller or the VA buyer or the seller, wants to be able to carry that entitlement to their next location and all that stuff. And so we run into that issue when there's subject to financing on a VA deal, and sometimes it really kills the deal. There's other times, I bought one of my properties off of VA loan, right? Subject to, but they didn't need it.
Exactly.
They still had entitlement and had the funds to do that, but that's few and far between typically, especially for an active duty service member.
Very true, because then they'll move and it's like a piggy bank for service members. You could buy a house, let your BAH go towards paying you in the future, but I agree. When you get orders in 24 months, your equity is, you're paying interest your first year anyway. You're not dipping into anything. Yeah. I have multiple homes on the sub-2 method with service members. I do it a little bit differently. I've held, properties that, I'll have 30-year terms with them. A lot of my VA ones I'll hold for 2, maybe 3 years. And it's usually when they go overseas or they're not buying their next duty station. You know what I mean? I'll take that over, give them an aggressive down to put myself on title, and then I'll sell in 2-3 years or refinance and help
open
them out.
That up, right? Because then you'll put it into whatever.
I'll go to a DSCR or whatever, go that route, which is still a great way to help them out and take over a damn good rate if they don't want to be a part of it. You know what I mean? Or we've done like Airbnbs with them. Like we'll sublet an Airbnb and just do an arbitrage deal. There's so many freaking ways to skin a cat in real estate, dude.
Right. That's what one thing that I bring into my sellers and buyers. Being creative sometimes you kind of have to sometimes.
Absolutely. Especially in 2024. I'll tell you right now, sellers are a lot smarter. You're hearing about a lot of different methods. And as an agent, that's why I love working with good agents, dude. People always think when I do my method, they go, you must have boys that can sell them for $500. And I go, I have people who would, but I would never do that. Right. Why would I ever do flat fee anything with my agents? They're the ones who are on the weekends selling this property, doing the open houses, getting in front of the marketing, door knocking the neighborhood, doing broker open houses. Why would I do that? Get them a full commission. You know why? Because your property's going to sell 99% quicker. If I were to go to you, bro, and get you a beautiful house over here, but I was going to give you a flat fee commish, you know what I mean? It's business. It can help my portfolio, but how's that going to help our relationship? I want you to pitch my services. I want to get you in front of more business. It's a great way to scratch everybody's back, man.
Yeah. Relationships, networking, knowing your circle, right? I always say, sit at the right table. And if you're at the wrong table, go sit at the right table.
Facts, dude. Yeah.
Right? I'm curious, man, who was it that showed up in your world that led you into real estate, business ownership, and even being a phenomenal husband and father? Who was monumental in your life?
It's a good question. See, these are good questions, homie. So like I said, I had no inkling to get into real estate. Zero. I thought I was going to do 30 years. I was going to be the youngest sergeant major in the Marine Corps, right? And my wife, actually, she hated her job at CarMax. And she goes, no offense, CarMax. She just didn't like the administrative piece. And she was like, I'm going to become a real estate agent. And I knew nothing about the industry. I was like, you're hot. You could totally do it. You can sell all my boys' houses. Hell yeah. And so I signed her up for a in-person event on a Sunday in San Diego for her to go to, which is it was like an investor special agent thing. It was like $60 that I saw online. My phone probably heard me talk about how we wanted to talk. So it gave me that prompt. Paid for it. Sunday came that morning, football Sunday, huge football fan, and my wife was like, I'm not going. And me at that time, I go, I'm not wasting those $60 damn. You are going. And she was like, if you don't want to waste it, you go. And I was like, fine, I'll go. So I went to the event, dude, and I legit fell in love, homie. I started talking to these people. You always think real estate as suit and tie, you truly do. Thinking about it, conventionally, it's very suit, tie, briefcase, money, and these people were in flip-flop sandals, multi-millionaires, just kind of talking about 8 units and X, Y, all these things that I had no idea was a thing. Somebody finally approached me, and we were talking, and they're like, oh, you're in the active duty? He's like, dude, how's that VA entitlement treating you? And I was like, what? Because you don't even know financial literacy in the military. It's not taught, bro, and it's really unfortunate. And so he spun me up, and he goes, are you in debt? And I go, a little bit. And he was like, it doesn't matter. You get approved, get a property, and house hack it, right? Just get a home, get in front of it, rent all your rooms out to your boys, get a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, rent your freaking rooms out and go from there. And he kind of gave me a roadmap. His name is Joey. Still talk to Joey this day. He's crushing it in Hawaii right now, and we ended up going. I told my wife, and I came back and said, we're going to be millionaires. Like, we go so extreme. What I mean? I was like, I cracked the code. It felt like Neo from Matrix,
right.
dude.
Took the red pill.
Yeah, I took the red pill, bro, and I sent it, and we got pre-approved. We got a house, rented out all my rooms to my boys, and they paid me handsomely because they were already in E5 and up, so they were able to save their BAH, basic allowance for housing. They paid me like $1,400 a pop. My mortgage was like $2,200. I was cash flowing like $2,800 a month, and I was like, what? So I just did that over and over again, thinking that was the only way to do it. And then I started going to more meetups and talking to people. But dude, I was like, my second house, I treated that like my wife was accommodating at first. We had like the fridges labeled. Like my mom was in a room with a bunch of Marines, you know what I mean? And she knew them all, of course, but she's the only woman, you know what I mean? And the second house, I had bunk beds in the living room. Bro, I like straight up hostel style of like these houses, man. I went way too extreme.
That just goes to show real quick how much guys want to be out of barracks.
Dude, I like as whatever you could do. I was like, how do we do? Double it up. And you think that kind of quick cash is getting you where you want to be, but at least it was the right process. But the story I want to tie into was my father-in-law loved it. Super, he was always so supportive. I didn't grow up with my father, so he was so important to me. He was always so supportive of me. And he came to my second house, and he was like, I love the hustle, Trev. He was like, I love this. And he looked around, and he was like, but... And he had a private conversation with me. I was like showing it off. Like, look, I'm making like $2,000 from this room, and yada, yada, yada. Like a dick. And then he came in, he was like, I love this, man. He goes, but my daughter deserves so much better. Like, this, he was like, this is temporary, right? And I go, yeah. And he was like, no, it's going to be extremely temporary. You're going to find a way to do all this while you have your own house, because she wants a family, And I was like, damn. And so that's right before, I'd say 2 months before he passed, right? And so he never got to see the momentum of what we built. But from that conversation, him passing, becoming my wife, and me having to deploy and not being able to be, the keeper of my own time, dude, I just went into a way where I was like, I can do this the right way. And it just evolved into what we have now. So... long-winded story of that, but it is like super important to me.
Dude, I love it, man.
Yeah.
I love it. And I'm curious, man, what book did you read that changed your world that you recommend everybody read?
I recommend a couple. I mean, obviously, number one, the easiest one would be Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Get it all the time. If you haven't read that, I read it every year. Very dumbed down way of getting in front of the 4 pillars of wealth. And then The Burr Method by David Green is a great book. But one that I highly recommend you reading, because when you start out, you will fail. Like, you will over leverage what we call touching the stove. You're gonna get burned. You're gonna lose a lot of your money. But the book Traction, dude.
Oh yeah.
Dude, it like completely revamps how to do it for an EOS system, the entrepreneurial operating system, to do it the right way. And it's so much easier than you think when you have that kind of guidance, and if you find out if you're a visionary or an integrator. And that just kind of became our Bible, and we just kind of kept it simple. And that's where we've seen the most of our scaling come directly from that book, man. Traction's a damn good book.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'll have to reread that one.
Dude, yeah,
it's been
good
a few
one.
years. Yeah.
Do it. I highly recommend it.
Yep.
You'll see it from such a different light, man.
Yeah, I have
Such
it in my
different
library in my office.
Nice,
right there.
dude.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you read The Burr Method?
Yeah.
Yeah. Such a good way to get started, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially VA homebuyers first time.
Yes, dude. Yes. And DSCR rates are dropping, refinance.
Well, house hacking for the Burr.
House hacking for the Burr.
If you have a little bit of cash and can make that work on the Burr strategy, pull your money back out, do it again, rent them out, Airbnb, whatever you want to do. Yeah.
That's what we're doing for our pad splits right now, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. And man, I'm going to have you on again, bro. It's been
I would
such a
love
blessing,
to, man.
dude.
I would
you
truly
so much.
love to, man.
One last question before you go. What is one piece of advice you give anybody in the world today?
I hit it earlier, but it's something I always want to end the podcast with: is imperfect action is better than perfect non-action. Failing forward's a lot better than trying to succeed being stale. You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to happen. So you need to take that thing that you want to do. You just got to do it, because anxiety is on the other side of action. It's going to stop. The moment that you decide to take it, you're not happy with yourself. You're the only reason that you're holding yourself back on. You know what I mean? So I love the idea of leaning into it and taking a chance, because you're young and dumb and you're ready to be able to get it going. I'll tell you right now, it'll make for a damn good story on this couch on another podcast for Rich.
Let's go, baby.
Yeah, baby.
Just do it.
Just do it. Just do it, man.
Awesome,
Appreciate
brother.
you, brother. Seriously.